Welcome back to the Creepy Countdown, where I tell you about the creepypasta and the authors that you need to be paying attention to. So this week, we are going to be doing things a wee bit differently. There's this relatively new subreddit out there filled with authors that either want to be eaten like a bug or narrated by Papa Meat. If you don't know what that means, that's fine. What I'm talking about is the R Creepcast submissions subreddit. Now, in case you didn't know, I am a rather big fan of the Creepcast. Well, let me tell you, I have a soft spot for the Creepcast. So, guys, this is a subreddit that it really has a lot of heart. And one of the things I've noticed is that a lot of these authors that post here, they genuinely don't see how talented they are and how great their writing is. So I wanted to make this video as a way to bring some love towards this community. So as always, the list that I'm going to show you all tonight, it only contains the stories that I myself had time to personally review and rank. So you might not necessarily agree with what I thought were the best stories of the week, and that's totally all right. But what I challenge you to do is go into the comments section and tell me what stories you thought were the best ones. And let's get this conversation going. So let's give some love to these authors tonight in this video, shall we? We're going to start off first with some highlighted stories. This first story is Whispering in White by WacosWackyWastrel. Now, I generally don't like stories that involve self-harm or other not safe for work related topics, but I made an exception for this story. And the reason why was that there was something that was just really haunting about this one that spoke to me on a very deep, visceral level. So in this story, we were greeted with a set of letters that were found nailed to a tree, and they discuss the descent into madness that this beloved cousin went through after her father died. And then the cousin himself goes through something very similar after this cousin died. So it involves sounds and voices calling out to those who have become infected, for lack of a better word. And what's really cool about this story is that the notes that the different characters get from each other, they seem to play a part in this infection process somehow. I do need to say that it is an emotionally tough read. So it isn't for everybody, but I think it's a really cool story. And if you're up for it, I highly recommend it. For the next story, we're going to talk about Do Not Give a Name to Your Guardian Angel by St. Michael's AK-47. Now, before I even touch on the story itself, I just want to tell the author that your username is absolutely metal that you have that username with the content of the story that you wrote. I just think that's the coolest thing ever. Anyways, this is an awesome story. And in it, we are greeted with an adult who is getting ready to be baptized into the Catholic faith. And they make the grave mistake of praying to their guardian angel and asking them what their name is. And the angel, it seemingly responds. So this is a story that deals with angelic lore, but more importantly, it also deals with ideas of demonic oppression and salvation. And there are moments in this story that I was genuinely screaming with surprise. Okay, I don't want to give things away, but I thought this was a really powerful story. And I just want to say to the author, St. Michael's AK-47, that I appreciate how much of yourself and your own story that you put into this. I know that this probably isn't going to be a story for everyone because of the religious portion of it, but I think that it's worth looking at. If you like these types of stories, it's one of the more well-done ones that I've seen in a very long time. This next one, it was something else entirely. It is called The Things I've Learned Living in Hell by Redwood Spooks. And this story, it had me locked and loaded with just one line. You don't get bored or go insane. The place seems to have a mind of its own. It constantly wants you to be afraid and in pain. So the last thing it wants from you is to forget the feeling of torment. Like, just think about that line. That is, oh man, that is amazing. This is a story that is not afraid to go hard at all. The only catch, we could lose our lives. I mean, Redwood Spooks, you know how to get a guy like me really excited about a story. Like, this is amazing, amazing work. So I don't even know how to describe a story like this succinctly. So I'm not going to try to at all. You are getting the cliff notes of the cliff notes. So in this wild, wild ride, there is a drug trial, and then the protagonist, he ends up in hell, and he's stuck there. And the story, it very clearly draws from Dante's Inferno and other hell-based creepypasta that have come before it. And like, there's a Running Man scenario that's involved with this. Like, oh, amazing. And this is apparently like a really old work that this author just never got around to uploading before. And it was a roller coaster ride. You guys are absolutely going to love this story. Please read it. All right, guys, the runner-up this week is this really genuinely creepy story about cults. And it's called Unbecoming by knoxxdread. So this story really caught my imagination because of the genuinely unsettling atmosphere surrounding it. So let me paint you a picture. Imagine that you are the daughter of essentially a cult leader in this small, old-fashioned town. He considers himself a pastor, and his name is Silas. And Silas, he holds services twice a week. He controls the Sunday services, but the Wednesday services are for 18 and unders, and his son and your brother, Isaac, runs those. Now, Isaac, he is also a child, and he's an illiterate child at that, but he has absolute control during these Wednesday services. And adults, they're not allowed at all. Your role during these, you read out Bible verses that he calls. That's it. He has total control, and that includes all the way up to murder. I mean, this story, it was really something else. It has twists and turns as this cult slowly falls further and further into Isaac's grasp, and everything about it is just so genuinely creepy. And the ending, it was like something out of a bad dream. Like, oh, it was so good. I really would love it if you guys would sit down and read this story. There's just layers to it. And I promise the ending, it delivers. Amazing job, knoxxdread. You hit this one out of the park. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here is what I believe to be the best story on our Creepcast submissions in the last week. I am the guy who survived the plane crash in Alaska. This is what really happened to me by Critter Goo. Okay, guys, this is a 4-part series that came out over the weekend. And I mean, it had me guessing the whole time through what was really going on. And I'm not ashamed to say, I PM'd the author to let me know when the final part was coming out because I wanted to read it and just know what was going to happen. Like, this story, it had me hooked from the beginning, and I loved it so much. So, I mean, like, as you read it, you go through this slow realization of what's actually happening, and it just increasingly trauma bonds you to our main character, Nathan. So, Nathan was the sole survivor of this plane crash where they were going to film grizzlies for one of those apex predator TV shows where it's animal against animal. I mean, you know the type probably. They used to be on like Spike TV or Animal Planet. Now, the story that he had been telling people of what happened, it wasn't the real story at all. Yes, the plane did crash and he was the sole survivor, but there was something else that happened in the woods that scarred him so incredibly deeply. So guys, this is a really beautiful story in that it builds up these characters and the relationship really well. Like you get to know who they are before they're thrown into the fray. And that really helps connect you with them. Let me tell you, for a lot of this story, we don't really know what the nature of the threat that they're facing is. Like, sure, we know that one of them is very badly injured and the other one is trapped under the plane, but we don't know what's actually out there in the woods. Is it the bears? Is it something human? Or is it something supernatural? We really don't know. And I promise you that when the reveals start coming, they're going to blow you away. You're not going to see them coming at all. I mean, my God, I loved this story so very, very much. And I hope that my fellow narrators, they reach out to the author and request to do this story. Because I think it's one of those stories, like I talked about in the first video we did together, that could become a modern day classic. Congrats, Critter Goo. You have done something amazing with this series, and I hope that people remember it for a really long time. And I mean that. All right, guys, that's the show for this week. I really hope that you enjoyed it. Because it's a holiday week, there is a decent chance that my normal Thursday or Friday narration isn't going to make it out. I'm going to give it a shot, but if it doesn't look like it's going to happen, just know that that video will come out next week. Now, speaking of videos, let me know what you thought of this week's podcast in terms of the format. I'm still playing with it, trying to figure out what works and what doesn't, but I really want to include this particular subreddit in the videos moving forward because, like a lot of the authors that I highlighted, Creepcast, it really helped me gain the self-confidence I needed to start this channel and start talking about these stories. And, you know, if my podcast can do the same and help others gain self-confidence to do what they want to do, I'll consider that a win for the community as a whole. All right, guys, thank you and have a nice night. Bye-bye.
Uncle Magnetti, I want to be you. Uncle Magnetti, I'm watching you. Inside your mind I twist and turn. Feed on your fear, watch it burn.